Okay, welcome back to Daily Driven Alpha. Today we're looking at the dashboard, and we're also going to look at some of the trim that we've done putting the headliner in. So really this is just a quick look at the condition of this dashboard. As you can see, here's the glove box lid starting to delaminate here, but this is that hard laminate faux wood grain stuff they put on from the factory. Now if I try and take that off, that's just going to shatter. So what we're going to do is we're going to glue this back down and try and salvage it as much as we can and see how that looks. So we'll clean that up, clean this back up, respray it. That'll come good. What we're also looking at here is the original dashboard itself. You can see that holes have been drilled in it, which is unfortunate. We're going to have to try and patch those. We'll get a blanking plate for the radio, and you can see the original wood grain finish that's sitting there. Now to do this properly, what you need to do is you need to gently remove all these trim pieces, and you'll notice that they've been riveted on, which is interesting that they've put rivets into this sort of pressed cardboard material, but I guess they just hold it there, they're not structural. And what we've done here is you've got some trim pieces that sit on the bottom of the dashboard, and I've already started to remove these today, and I'll just quickly show you how they sit. Very, very rudimentary. They're held on by, you'll notice this one here, started with this outer one here. Be careful when you take these off, they're very fragile, very brittle, and they've used like an expanded foam to make these, and then they've used, there's obviously a steel frame that it sits across with these steel tongues that they push through and twist just to fold them over and hold them in place, and then it's covered with a vinyl. So pretty basic. I wouldn't pull this apart. If you're going to do anything, cover over it, but then you've got extra material which you've got to watch for, but I reckon we can salvage that. So what I'm showing you is then you've got these metal trim pieces, and the lovely thing is with these, they are stainless steel, so thank you Alfa Romeo for using quality bits that don't corrode. And you'll notice that they're once again riveted on. We're going to drill those out. This side here was the largest piece, and had to very carefully pry this apart from the inside. There are some screws here that hold the glove box on. You have to take those off first. Before you start pulling anything apart, make sure you've got everything off, and if it doesn't want to come, just take it easy, recheck, and gently pry it apart. So this one's come off. Again, you can see the steel frame that they've used with the expanded foam. We'll clean all this up, rust kill it, we'll paint it, protect it underneath, and you can see the edges here. We're going to heat these, re-glue them, do some little patches along the way, but ostensibly let's reuse what we've got. Try and keep it as original as possible, but just make it presentable again. And this stuff comes up pretty well when you clean it with the right cleaners. Lots of dirt and stuff on it, and then we'll use some Armor All or any of your interior car sort of moisturizer type stuff when we're ready. But I guess we're at now with this one is just gently removing these trim pieces. If you haven't done this before, use a step type drill and just gently drill out the heads of these rivets. And you can see they come off pretty easily. Right, there you go. You just want to drill the head off. You don't want to drill all the way through it, otherwise you'll damage stuff. And be careful that you don't slip off and drill through the cardboard. So take it easy. Right, that's it there. Now, this should start lifting off, okay? And you just need to be careful because these, some of the rivets haven't come out yet, so you might need to punch some of these little rivets out before you start removing them. There we go. Starts coming out. Bit of a, there you go. Lovely. Now this one's got a little bit of damage on it here, and we can fix that by putting it over a piece of steel and gently tapping it and polishing it. So that's been bent. But be very careful with these. You don't want to change the orientation of these very fine curves. So look, that's going to be it. And as we do it, we thought about trying to take this black paint, someone's painted it black across this wood grain. It would have been great to have the original wood grain finish, but there's cracking etc. in here. So what we're going to do is clean this up, fill some of these holes, sand it really nicely, and then we're going to use a black crackle paint finish, the kind you see on your cam covers and the like. I've used it on our Julia Super dash binnacle. Comes up really nicely. So we'll do that in here because I can't see, if we try and cover it with vinyl, I just don't think it's going to look that good. And the other issue that you have is when you start covering into vinyl areas like this, you add more material and the glove box won't close. It doesn't fit properly. Plus, these compound curves, they start to become problematic and you get creases and it just doesn't look very good. So we think black crackle finish, and then we'll use vinyl etc. and we think that that'll come up nicely. Now what I want to do is take you and show you the headliner that we've put in, and we'll talk through a couple of those issues and how that's come out and a couple of the tips that you can have a look at. So when we come back, we'll look at the headliner. Okay, right, welcome back. Now, let's have a look here. As you can see, headliner's in and it's looking pretty good. We're pretty happy with it. And what we've also done is we recovered this rear deck, and I've put it in just to see how it sits, especially with fitment against the padding here. You need a little bit, but not too much, so it goes in, presses down here and pulls this tight. So you can see that as the headliner's gone in, we've trimmed the excess material off with a very sharp blade. Just one thing to think about when you are using a sharp blade, don't press too hard or too deeply because you'll score into the paint, and then if moisture gets in underneath the rubber and goes in there, that's a beautiful place for rust to start. So we had one issue at the front there, which I'll show you, and what I did was I just sprayed some clear paint into this area here just to seal it up. Right. When you come through, you've got a seam here. We'll see how this goes when we put the trim on. But overall, we're pretty happy with that. It's come up quite nice. Let me come around here where you haven't got that light shining in your eyes. You can start to see that, and you can see those creases in the back there where we've had some bulldog clips holding it up, but they'll settle out and once the rubber goes in. The insert went in really nicely. So a little tip for you when you're doing the insert, and that may look like this is just a shadow that you can see up here. But one of the things to think about is the foam here. We sprayed some glue, we put it up against there first and then put the halo in, and all the rest is dropped down because you need to get the screws in from behind here. It is a pain, but patience, screw it all up, and then you start working it back. Now, we chose to work it forward first, and while there's a few creases, etc. left, remember there's some fittings that are going to go in with the handles at the back there. You've got the trim that goes in, it's going to pinch it, plus you've also got the rubber that's going to go here and pull this a little bit tighter. So that's come up nicely. The other thing that we've done is you can still see a few little marks there from the bulldog clips, but we remade this from the template, just hand stitched it, put it in, and that's come up pretty good. Right, bit of patience, and we've used a brush on contact adhesive which has dries pretty quickly and is gripped really well. You can see the clear paint here that we put in. So as you can see, that's looking pretty good. So quite happy with that. Some of the other things we've done, put a little bit of this reflective material. It's foam, it's very light, but just put it in for a bit of heat shielding and also sound deadening on the interior areas, and stuck that in. Reused the old foam covers, they were good for the arches. And we've had a couple of issues, little minor ones which we'll repair with a couple of little tiny patches, but as you can see in these corners where you cut round, make sure you leave a bit more material than we have, because while we put it in and it looked good, when we started pulling everything back and stretching it and heating it with a hairdryer, it stretched and pulled these little areas back out, and so we're just going to have to glue a couple of tiny little triangles of vinyl in there just to get rid of that unsightly area. It's not going to tear any further, but it looks good. Still looks good, we're quite happy with it. So there you go. Another thing to think about too is make sure you've got your headliner centered and that you've also got these two A-pillar pieces the same height across. So measure it and measure it and measure it. A couple of other things we've done. We've put in these little trim pieces, talked about those in another video, cutting them. These just fold over, and what they do is as this rear card goes in, this just stops you from seeing a red strip of paint here. It just finishes it off nicely. So happy with that, and you can see it done on the outside as well. We've still got our pieces to go in here. We've got these pieces that cover over here, and we've also made a couple of pieces that go in on the inside here in the kick areas to finish that off, and then we'll put in some of our sound deadener and our underlay in here, but we'll do that after we've put the glass in. So we need to get the rear and front screens in, but today we'll also push on and we'll get some of this trim in here, and you have to be mindful of your sequence of putting in your trim. So we'll go and start with this, put the trim in, and then we'll put these quarter glasses in. Hopefully we'll get that done today. So there you go, there's a little bit of an update. Headliner's in, that's a milestone for us, we're very happy with that. Working on the dashboard, and we'll get some chrome on, and we'll start getting that glass in. Thanks for watching. Hope your projects are going well. Like, subscribe, share it with others, and keep your comments respectful. Look forward to speaking to you soon on our next post. Thanks.